Hello, my name is Maria Miller from mathmammoth.com. In this video we're going to study about multiplying and dividing rational numbers, and that means fractions and decimals. And as a difference to earlier grades, we are now including negative fractions and negative decimals also. Let's get started. Over here, negative 4/10 times 1 and 3/10. You multiply this using the normal decimal multiplication. Just notice that since there's a negative times a positive, your answer will be negative. So just multiply as if it was 0.4 times 1.3. And for that, I can multiply mentally as if there were no decimal points. Multiply 4 times 13, right? That's 52. So I get 52, but then I need to figure out where does the decimal point go. There's one decimal digit here and another here. So in total, 2 decimal digits. I need 2 decimal digits in my answer, right? So it's going to be this way. But it has to be negative, okay? Negative 0.52. Here is a fraction raised to the third power. Okay, and it's a negative fraction at that. Well, when it is raised to the third power, it is cubed. It means we multiply it by itself 3 times. And now we use regular fraction multiplication, which says that we multiply 1 times 1 times 1, and then 5 times 5 times 5. But will the answer be positive or negative? There's a negative times negative. These two multiplied makes a positive, and then positive times negative makes a negative answer. So in total we get a negative answer. And our fraction will be, of course, 1 times 1 times 1, and then 5 times 5 times 5, 125. Now here is a negative number times a negative number. Our answer will be positive. So I can just multiply 2 and 1/3 times 5 using regular fraction multiplication. And I don't have to worry about the negatives after I figure out that it's going to be positive. And to multiply with a mixed number, remember you need to change that into a fraction first. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1, 7. So there's 7/3 times 5. And now here I multiply, you can think of this as 5 over 1 if you want to, or just 7 times 5 goes on top, 35, and then 3 on the bottom. And now this we can write as a mixed number. It is 11 and 2/3. Here I have a decimal times a fraction. You cannot do it directly as such. You need to either change the fraction into a decimal, or the decimal into a fraction, and then multiply. And I'm going to do it both ways. Actually, let's first use fraction multiplication. This here, 15 hundredths, is of course written as a fraction 15 hundredths. And that times negative 2/5. Now I multiply using fraction multiplication, but before I do that, I can simplify. I can simplify before I multiply, because there's 15 and 5, they're both divisible by 5. So I get here 3 and 1. Then 2 and 100 also, both are divisible by 2, so I can simplify here and get 50. Now I multiply using regular fraction multiplication, noting that my answer will be now negative, some kind of negative fraction. 3 times 1, and then 50 times 1, negative 3 over 50. And like I said, we're going to solve this also using decimals. Okay, we'll change this into a decimal. Over here, 0.15 times, and this is a decimal. Note it is equivalent to 4/10, or negative 4/10. So it is negative 4/10, like that. Now using decimal multiplication, I multiply as if there were no decimal points. 4 times 15 is 60. My answer will be negative though. And then I need 1, 2, 3 decimals. Like that. Now, are both of these answers the same? Are they equal? This, here I can drop the final 0. So this is negative 6 hundredths. And this is equivalent to negative 6 hundredths, right? So yes, they are equal. This just has been simplified as a fraction to 3 over 50. And now here let's solve some more problems. 3.2 divided by negative 4/10. Okay, again, first ignore the negative number there, the negative sign, and think of it as 3.2 divided by 0.4. And there's a mental math trick to that, because those numbers behave nicely. This one goes evenly here. How many times does 4/10 fit or go into 3.2? The answer is exactly 8 times, right? But we just need to take it as a negative answer because it's a positive divided by a negative. This one here, 2/3 divided by 6, is a simple fraction division. 2/3, you remember how to divide fractions? You need to change the division into a multiplication and 6 into its reciprocal, like that. And then it's easy to multiply, though I can simplify before I multiply as 1 and 3, so I get just 1/9. This is a regular decimal division. Do you remember how to do those? If the divisor, this number here, is a decimal, you don't directly use long division. Instead, we will change this into another problem where the divisor is a whole number. And by multiplying both of these by 10, I will get a new problem, a new division problem, that will have the same answer as this one, but it will have 13 as a divisor. So I multiply both by 10 and I get 905.5 divided by 13. And then I use long division. I'm going to add some decimal zeros here. I anticipate it not being an even division. So 13 goes to 90 here 6 times. So we get 78. Then over here 125. And now here it goes 9 times. It's 90, 117. And then we get 85. And it again goes 6 times. Then we get 70. Now it goes 5 times. And then 50. It goes 3 times. And so on and so on. Okay, so this would continue. And I can cut it off here and round it to 2 decimal digits and get the answer as 69.65. Here, I tried to create as difficult a fraction division problem as I could. Does it look like very difficult? Not really. You know, that's a negative and a negative. But when you divide negative by negative, you get a positive answer, so we can just ignore those negatives from the start. And then it is just 2 mixed numbers. To divide fractions, you need to use this, of course. You change it into multiplication. But even before that, since it's mixed numbers, we change the mixed numbers into fractions first. So here we get 15/8 divided by 5/4. And notice I just dropped the negatives because I know the answer will be positive. And now we change it into a multiplication problem. 4/5. And here, nicely, I can again simplify before I multiply. 3 here, 1 here, and all that is left is 3/2, or 1.5. Lastly, this problem, I want to again show you 2 ways to do it. First of all, we could use decimal division, okay, in long division, just basic long division, and just get our answer as a negative. And then we'll find another way to do it too. 4 goes to 3 0 times. 4 goes to 37 9 times, so we get 36. And then 15, it goes 3 times. And now I will continue the division, add some decimal zeros here. 4 goes to 37 times, we get 28, and then to 20. And now it was even division, so that's our answer. Let's compare that if we do this division using fractions, because this number is easy to write as a fraction. 0.75 would be 3/4, right? So this is actually -3 3/4 divided by 4. Again, we need to change this into a fraction first. So there's 15, -15/4 divided by 4. And now we change the division into a multiplication. -15/4 times. And then this needs to change into its reciprocal number, 1/4. Flip it over, so to speak. Now we are ready to multiply. Nothing simplifies here. The answer will be negative, and we get 15 over 16. Negative 15 over 16. And this answer should be negative too. I'll put a negative sign there now. And notice, the answers look totally different, right? But they must be equal if I did my calculations right. And indeed, if you change this negative 15 over 16 into a decimal, you will get exactly this. You can check it with a calculator, okay? So they are equal even though they look different. Okay, we're all done, and I hope this was helpful.